All right. Yes. Yes. Man, James, man, I'm glad you're here, brother. Man, how's your week, brother? Man, I'm pretty jacked up today, man. My camera's a little off, but I think we'll roll with it. I'll roll with it. I had to get everything set up. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's not that important. The hat's going to be a little at the top. That's okay. That's okay here. I think I'm good on YouTube. All right, man. I have a great show planned. I am going to break down the NFC East playoff picture. I'm going to break down the whole NFC East and offer my opinion on what's going to happen in the NFC East because this weekend with the Cardinals beating the Giants, it kind of solidified that the Cardinals are going to go ahead and get into the playoffs. Not completely. With that and with the Vikings losing to Tampa Bay, I think what you're going to see in the NFC is you're going to see Tampa Bay and the Saints and 3 NFC West teams. And then what you're going to have is the Packers, obviously. They're in the hunt for the 1 seed. And then what you're going to have is whoever wins the NFC East. So I broke down the whole division, and it's really interesting because I wasn't sure about it, but all 4 teams have a chance. Okay, my camera's just a little off. I can never get this exactly. All right, I think that's good. No energy drink, but I'm drinking coffee already. I'm jacked up, man. I am jacked up. Alex, what's up, brother? Man, I'm going to break down the NFC East, including your second favorite team, Dallas Cowboys. I say that very, very, very sarcastically. Titan Logic, what is up, man? You know what? Why did I bet on Derrick Henry over on yardage last week and not this week? I think the number is still going up. He's an MVP candidate, by the way. He's not going to win it. It's going to go to either Rodgers or Mahomes. I mean, it's kind of hard for me to look at it objectively, being a Chiefs fan. But I think Mahomes. I mean, it's so funny. Mahomes throws for 393, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and it's a bad game. Here he is. He beats a playoff team on the road, and it's like, you didn't play good. It's interesting. Tim, what's up, brother, man? I'm sure you'll get into it, but do you think the Browns are the Chiefs' biggest threat? No, I do not. I'll hit that right now. There's only one team in the AFC I fear, and that's Indianapolis Colts. Last time the Colts were here at Arrowhead, they won. Justin Houston was a defensive player of the week, just dominated the defensive line, had 2 sacks and a key 4th down stop. He played like a man possessed. Him and DeForest Buckner will cause problems for an offensive line that's been banged up throughout the year. Not only that, Phillip Rivers has no problems winning at Arrowhead. So they're the only team I fear. And here's the thing. If it's best out of 3, best out of 5, Chiefs win. It's best out of 1. And that's the best thing about NFL playoffs. It's 1 game. The best team does not always win. The best team does not always win. And that's the thing about the playoffs. If the Chiefs come out and they play a Colts team and they play a B and the Colts play their A game, Colts will win. Colts are the only team. The Colts are the only team. There's no other team in the AFC. The Browns, I think the Browns, they'll get into the playoffs. What I'm really hoping is that the Browns and the Steelers will play in the playoffs. That's what I'm hoping, and I think that will be a great game. It'll be a great game. Music City guy, what is up, brother? Chris Hernandez. How are the Chiefs going to attack the Saints? Like, which 2 players do you see having a big game and vice versa? How will the Saints effectively compete against Kansas City? Man, Chris, welcome, man. I don't recognize you, so I'm glad you're here. Great question. Last week, I've been telling people I've been getting into prop betting. I've been telling people that what you want to do is put action on Kelsey over on yards and receptions. And I did not take my own advice. Long story short, I got logged in late, so I wasn't able to get in. But Travis Kelsey needs to have a big day. Travis Kelsey. That's the answer. And number 2 is going to surprise you. Number 2 is Chris Jones, the Chiefs defensive tackle. What the problem is, it doesn't matter if Breeze is going to be the quarterback or Taysom Hill. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who's going to play quarterback. Chris Jones has to have a good game. He has to cause problems. If you're not familiar with how good Chris Jones is, he might be the second best defensive tackle in football behind Aaron Donald. But those are the two players. Travis Kelce, he's could lead the NFL in receiving yardage for a tight end. That's never happened, at least not in the modern era. I think Mike Ditka did it back in the 60s, pre-Super Bowl era. But Travis Kelce will have to have a big game. He's been having big games. He's a home security blanket. He needs to have a big game. And then Chris Jones has to be disruptive. Whoever's going to play quarterback for Saints, and I don't think it really matters. Chris Jones has to have a big game. Chris, great question. But you know what? I'm sorry. I got all vice versa. Vice versa. And I'll give you two players. Number one, Michael Thomas. And if you're not familiar with Michael Thomas, he broke the all-time receptions record in a season. I think it was 149. I might be mistaken. He is really good. And he was out and the Saints kept on running, so people kind of forgot about it. But he's the best player on the Saints. He is the best player on the Saints. You're going to say, no, Alvin Kamara is. Okay. I'm telling you, it's Michael Thomas. And I love Alvin Kamara's game. So Michael Thomas is one, and then Alvin Kamara is two, because if Breeze is back at quarterback, and I should have known this before I got on the air, so I apologize. If Breeze is on the air, or if Breeze is going to be a starting quarterback, he may have some rust. He may still be banged up. If Taysom Hill is going to start, he's not seen anything like Kansas City yet, because unlike the other teams he's played against, they're scoring 24, 21 points. What you're gonna see is a Kansas City Chiefs team that can put up 30 or 40 against anybody, so they are going to have to score points. So your two big winners, or two guys that need big games from the Saints, are going to be Michael Thomas, who should have a really good game. As far as prop bets are concerned, Michael Thomas yards and especially receptions is big. It wouldn't surprise me if Michael Thomas has between 10 and 12 catches. 10, 12 catches. And then Alvin Kamara has to have a big game. You want to make sure, if you're the Saints, you don't want it to come down to Taysom Hill getting down by double digits and having to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game. You do not want that. You want to have a lower scoring game. Chris, great question. Man, I love the Tennessee guys are great, by the way, man. And you guys should be very, very happy. Don't fear the Raiders, Dan. They are familiar with the Chiefs. I have action on Thursday night. Football, and I'll get into that for a little bit here. So Rick Smith interviewed for the Lions GM job, and I like him. I understand Smith has ties with Robert Saleh. Louis Riddick interview is Friday, I think. Yeah, I heard about Louis Riddick, and I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. But I did not know about Rick Smith. And Rick Smith, I'm going to tell you right now, Rick Smith would be. I hate the stereotype, because I think Mike Mayock has done a decent job with the Raiders. I'm sorry, man. Okay, Chris. Man, by the way, Chris, thank you very much, man. I'm glad you're here, man. I want to hear from you. Tell me about yourself, man. What we do is every Wednesday and every Friday we talk football. I talk a lot of point spreads and a lot of gambling, but it's not always about gambling. Not always about gambling. I'm drawing a blank. The 49ers GM, strong safety, John Lynch. Okay. John Lynch also had no experience taking over a GM position. I know Lynch and Riddick aren't exactly the same thing. But I like Rick Smith better. But one thing I do like what the Lions are doing so far, I didn't even know about Rick Smith. So that's a really, really smart decision, bringing in really smart GMs all over the place. So, yeah, I got a new one here. Do you think Arizona gets in, or someone like the Vikings or Bears get? No, I think Arizona gets in, Tim. I think the NFC playoffs are pretty much wrapped up. Arizona could lose several games, and the Vikings, I don't think the Bears. I think the Bears are done. There's a chance that they're going to clean house after the season's over, and it's kind of a shame, because they start off 5-1, And I know one guy, he was talking trash, like, "Oh man, you watch Bears going to I'm going to put money down." I was like, "Let's see your bet slip." "Well, I don't know that." And I was like, "All right." And then he jumped out 5-1, tried talking trash to me. I said, "Post the bet slip." And then somebody jumped in, "Oh, I know him and he's talking." And I was like, "Post your bet slip or shut the F up." So, yeah, the Cardinals got the last spot. It's going to be 3 teams from the NFC West. Then you're going to have Tampa Bay and the Saints, and then you're going to have Green Bay, and then you're also going to get the winner of the NFC East. And you are in luck. I'm going to break down the whole NFC East. I'm going to break down the whole NFC East. So, Mike chimes in. Mike, welcome, brother. How about you? Dude, you know what? I thought the Steelers were going to win. I thought the Steelers were going to win. Really surprised. The Bills are looking good, man. I don't think they're a threat to Kansas City. I do not think they're a threat to Kansas City. But the way it's going to work out as of today, and this could flip flop, you could have the Steelers are going to be the 2 seed, the Bills are going to be the 3 seed, and then drawing a blank here, whoever wins between the Colts and the Titans will be the 4 seed. I'm personally really wanting to see Pittsburgh and Cleveland in the playoffs. I would really, really like that. But you know what you could see in the playoffs, and it would be a lot of fun. I know you remember this, a Bills-Titans matchup. That would be fun. That would be fun. Admit it. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're Buffalo, do you want to see, of all the teams that could come to Buffalo, I think Tennessee would be the one that Bills fans are like, oh, shit. But, yeah, your Bills, great game, great win. And they're a dangerous team. They're not in Kansas City's league. They're not in Kansas City's league, but yeah, man. Hey, look, I was here like, man, I like Steelers. Hey, man, when I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. Chris chiming in, man. Do you think this game will be a shootout? Can the Saints keep up? Yes, I do think it'll be a shootout because Saints defense has looked good. They haven't seen anything like Kansas City. Can the Saints keep up? And that's going to be the $1 million question. Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara have to have big games. I think especially Michael Thomas because the Chiefs don't like to do a lot of double teaming. They can. And if that's the case, then you got to let Alvin Kamara get ramped up. Jared Cook, I didn't even talk about him. He's got to have a big game. This is not a game that, like, okay, they beat the Falcons a couple weeks ago, 21-16. They can't score 21 and beat Kansas City. They can't score 21 and beat Kansas City. So, if they're going to score in the low 20s like they've been doing, then they're in for a dark day because Kansas City will I fully expect Kansas City to score somewhere in the 30s. They've done it every game this year. Matter of fact, people said that Mahomes had a bad game. They put up 33 against a very good Dolphins defense. Mahomes had a comically bad sack, 2 tip passes that went for interceptions, and one of the best interceptions I've seen in a very, very long time, and they still scored 33. And the thing is, they left points on the field. They could have scored a lot more. So, and I think Saints defense is probably better than the Dolphins defense. But one thing about Saints defense that they don't have, because they have a lot of veteran players, is they don't have a lot of speed, especially in the secondary. What was it? Malcolm Jenkins, one of my favorite players. He went to the Saints, and he really struggled in the beginning because he's kind of limited. More than likely, you see him on Kelsey. And I think that what they're going to do is they're going to try to bracket Kelsey, but I think you're going to see a lot of Malcolm Jenkins on Kelsey. That's going to be a mismatch. So big day from Kelsey. So the answer to your question, I kind of went on a rant. The answer is yes, I do think it's going to be a shootout. No, I don't think the Saints can keep up. Now, keep in mind, if the Saints win, I have a bet slip with the Saints over 10.5 wins, so I will win. If this, I was really mad because I really wanted the Saints to win because I also had action on the Houston Texans over 7.5 wins. Yeah, so I did not. I lost the Houston bet. I wanted to be able to say I guarantee I got a winning ticket with the Saints, but I'll go into more detail. I'm going to break down all the games on Friday, but short answer, no. I expect the Chiefs to win this game. I think it'll be a high-scoring game. The question is, can Saints keep up? The short answer is no, but will they make it a competitive game? I think so. I do think so, but I expect the Chiefs to win, kind of ruining that for Friday. Keep in mind, I am a Chiefs fan, so I'm a little biased. I'll be happy when, like Smith, is a lot of players he drafted turned out to be really good, including J.J. Watt, Clinton Portis. I can't remember all of them, but he drafted more. Yeah, he had some really good draft picks with Houston. I really liked what he did. He got in a power struggle with Bill O'Brien. It didn't really work out, but I liked what he did. The main thing that he had a problem with is they could never get the quarterback. you remember the Texans had some great teams, and they didn't have a quarterback. You remember they had some really, 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 really good team, and he had some good draft picks. And you know what the best part is that he would be able to add to that defense. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it again. I don't like Saleh. I know Detroit and Michigan really high on Saleh. I don't like Saleh, but if you put him with a good GM like Rick Smith, I think you have a good chance for success. Hopefully what he does is say, hey, look, I'm going to get a really good offensive mind. You worry about defense. I'm going to get a good offensive mind. I'm going to worry about the offense, and I'll build a team up through the draft. And it's going to be an interesting draft. So, but yeah, I think Rick Smith is a lot better than Louis Riddick, but Louis Riddick's a crapshoot, but I think they're good candidates to hire. I'd be interested to see what the plan is, because they may have a better plan okay, like Miami Dolphins, for example. They were a team that was hovering around 500. They're hovering around 500 or 9-7, 7-9, 9-7, lost the playoff game. And they said, no, let's just blow this thing up. We're just going to get rid of players. We're going to draft our own stuff. We're going to just suck for a year. And remember, they start off 0-9, and then at the end of the season, things started coming together. Now this year, they're a very dangerous team, probably going to the playoffs. So what I could see is a GM saying, "Hey, look, here's the deal. We're going to move Stafford. We're going to dump some defensive players. We're going to get some draft picks. You're going to have just a terrible first season. And then we're just going to rebuild." And the owners may say, no, let's make sure that whoever comes in, we just have a good. We're going to keep Stafford. We're going to keep your defensive players. We're going to add some players. We're going to be active in free agency, and we're going to be good right away. And that may not be good for the long run, but it may be good for the short run. And it's kind of interesting. I'd be very interested to see what they're looking for. Do they have a plan 3 years from now, or are they just looking for next year? A lot of things that they could be thinking of. But I like Rick Smith. I did not know that. So you just introduced something to me. That's something that I love about this show, is I got people coming in, hey, Dan, what about this? So I didn't know that. Didn't know that. All right, Chris. Yeah, I had Kansas City TTO. Okay, you're talking total. I think it's 50.5 if you're talking about. What about CEH? Seems like that's where you can attack New Orleans. No, CEH and Le'Veon Bell. The Saints' defense is good. I'd be very interested to see how they're going to attack Kansas City. More than likely, what I think that they're going to do is I think they're going to bracket Kelsey, play a safety over the top, and try to contain Tyreek Hill. And then you're going to have either CEH, Hardman, Sammy Watkins. I think those guys. But ultimately, I don't think it matters what you do. I think Kelsey's going to get his. CEH coming back home to Louisiana. I don't know if he's from Louisiana, but since he played at LSU, I'm going to say home. I wouldn't be surprised he has a big game. I really like CEH. I was really high on DeAndre Swift. I still stand by. I think Swift would have been better, but CEH is thicker. He's bigger, more of a guy that can handle in between the tackles. I think that's something that Kansas City really wanted to address this year. Le'Veon Bell, a guy who entered the league at 245. I think he plays at 225. They want more size in the backfield. And I think that's something that's important, is that they got plenty of speed on the outside. Let's have some size on the inside. Just because you're short doesn't mean you're small, especially as a running back. And that's one thing about CEH. He's 210, but a lot of people say he's a smaller running back. No, he's short. There's a big difference between short and small. All right, I'm gonna get off my rant, but hopefully I answered your question. CEH could have a very big game, but the thing is, the Saints have a really good defense. It's just, I think this Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to present a problem that they haven't seen at all this year. And this includes Even with Atlanta, with Julio Jones and Ridley. I think it's something different that they haven't seen yet. Do not apologize, brother. Do not apologize. That's the thing about this show. If you have a question, I have an answer. If you join the show, you have a question, I will answer it. I have some stuff that I have a little thing here on the side. I'll throw it away. I don't care. If you join this show and you ask a question, I will give you an answer. That's the one thing I promote on my show because I just want to talk football. You want to talk Chiefs? I can talk Chiefs. You want to talk Lions? I can talk Lions. I can talk Texans. I can talk 32 different things and cowboy hats. And that's it. That's all I know. I know football, cowboy hats, and that's it. So that's it. Smith dumped off some player to Cleveland and turned around, drafted Deshaun Watson. Oh, was it Smith? Okay, let me back up here. And Alex, if you're there, here's the drill. Bill O'Brien was furious because Bill O'Brien had a huge crush on Patrick Mahomes. Bill O'Brien wanted Mahomes, and Bill O'Brien was pushing for a trade up, and I think it was vetoed. And I don't know if it was by Smith or what, but I think because they had some multiple draft picks, but I don't think they got the 12th pick in the draft through trade. I think that they were, I think they're 6-10 or they had a losing record. I don't think it was that pick was due to a trade. I could be wrong about that, but I do remember Bill O'Brien. I'm sorry, Alex put something that cracked me up here. I did something fun for you, Alex. I did something fun for you. I'll show you here in a second. Or maybe I won't get to it. I don't know. But I broke down the NFC East, and I was thinking of you. So I don't know if that draft pick was due to a trade, but they were very adamant in that draft either to take Trubisky, Mahomes, or Watson. And I think that what Bill O'Brien wanted was Mahomes, then Trubisky, and then Watson. And then I think Rick Smith, he was the one who really was going to say, we're not going to trade up. We're not going to blow up the team. We're going to get you either Watson or Mahomes because Trubisky, they knew was going to go top 5. They weren't going to try to trade in there. That's what I believe, but I could be wrong. Chris is on fire, man. I just don't see the Chiefs want to run much, but I would be wrong. I wouldn't want to either with a crazy offense like Mahomes, Tyreek, the Freak, Kelsey, Watkins, Robinson, Goodness. I think the way the Saints are going to approach this is I think you're going to see a lot of defensive backs. They have some really good linemen. I think they're going to try to put pressure on Mahomes. Here's how you beat Kansas City Chiefs. You put pressure on Mahomes with 4 because if you blitz Mahomes, you're screwed. You are screwed. And it's something that it's due to coaching. By the way, they're nice, but they're super noisy upstairs. So that's how you beat Kansas City. So I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to just try to put pressure. You wouldn't be surprised if the Saints line up 6 defensive backs and just say, hey, take your best shot. We're going to dare you to run the ball. And then CEH could have the big game. However, like I said before, Kelsey's going to be key. And then on the other side of the ball, Chris Jones has to be disruptive. I could touch base more on this offense, but I'd start rambling. And since you're new here, Chris, there's 2 things about this show. One, sometimes I get really bad with names. Some here I'll name like 5 or 6 things and I'll forget the name. And 2, I go on rants sometimes. Sometimes I just go off and I'm going to try to curtail that because I could talk about Chiefs offense literally for 20 minutes straight. So. Alex saying Houston's reporting interviewing Luis Red. It seems that YouTube ain't showing my comment because you missed the last part. Let me hold on here. I can approve it. Here. Okay, I put on YouTube. I don't know. I'm sorry about that, man. This is an over 18 channel, so it should. He's very big in Salah for a head coach. May have Salah head coach next year. So Salah is interviewing. I don't think he's due for an interview, but I didn't know Houston would be interested in Salah. That's very strange. Well, Sheila and Rod Wood hired Chris Spielman and Barry Sanders. I did hear. I heard about Spielman. I didn't hear about Barry Sanders, but Spielman is brilliant. I loved Chris Spielman. I did something fun for you. So we all know how much you love the Cowboys, Alex. The one guy wanted Watson. Yeah, that was Rick Smith, and Rick Smith wanted Watson, but Bill O'Brien was adamant. Bill O'Brien really loved Mahomes, and I'll be honest, I didn't. I was like, no, you got Watson, you won. I was like, man, he better be good for Kansas City. He better be good. And by the way, there is no Chiefs fan in the history of the world who knew how good Mahomes was going to be. However, every single Chiefs fan in the whole world will swear to you that, oh, I knew he was going to be this good. Nobody knew he was going to be this good. As a lie. I liked Trubisky better. I liked Watson better. I was not a fan of Mahomes. I really wasn't. Coming out of college, I wasn't. I was also wrong. No energy drink, just coffee. I would have slammed one though, but I was pretty amped up. I did something I thought was kind of cool. I may not even get a chance to do it, but I broke down the whole NFC East. I got a little thing on my notepad here. I did something in honor of Alex too. I did something fun for Alex too. Salah isn't doing an interview. Luis is. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I like Luis, but God, Salah in Houston. I don't see how that would work. I really don't see how that would work. Watt would have to move to the inside. I don't get it, man. I don't get Salah at all to Houston. So that's kind of, and I also don't think that assistant coaches are doing interviews yet. Oh my God, Chris Jones or whoever was offsides a couple of weeks ago. Every time he's offsides, I think of him blowing the game against the Pats or advancing to the Super Bowl. Seems like that guy. That's not Chris Jones. That was, oh, damn it, 50. D Ford. Okay, that was D Ford. Yeah, and people here in Kansas City still hate him. I don't care. San Francisco gave him $90 million and he's hurt. The one thing I didn't like about D Ford is he was always hurt. But when he plays pretty well. He rushes the passer as well as anybody. He doesn't stop the run, doesn't really interest in stopping the run. Yeah. Frank Clark lined up in the neutral zone this last week. So here, I'm gonna show you something. This is something I did. I'm gonna break down the NFC East. I'm going to break down my opinion of it here. I'm going to share my screen here. I thought this was kind of cool. Okay, I guess it's not cool because I got these lines. I thought those lines would go away. All right. So I'm going to blow this up. You don't need to look at me for right now. Oh, it doesn't really matter, does it? It's the same size. Okay. Some people wanted a defensive-minded head coach here. I would personally want. Yeah, Alex, I 100% agree with you. You got a guy like Deshaun Watson. I was thinking originally Bieniemy and Dorsey would tag team it in Detroit, but I'm kind of thinking because I keep hearing Salah to Detroit, and it keeps gathering traction. It makes a lot of sense. Bieniemy, I could see him going down to Houston. And just like him and Deshaun Watson, I can just see clicking. And then what you do is that you just say, hey, look, I'm an offensive-minded guy. I've been working with Andy Reid for the last seven or 8 years since 2013. We're going to run a similar type of offense in Kansas City. One thing the enemy wants to do is run the ball a little more. I think Deshaun Watson wouldn't have too much of a problem with that. And then what he would do is say, look, whoever runs the defense, and he'll probably bring in a strong experienced defensive coordinator to just take over the defense. I think that what he would do is just, hey, I'm the head coach, but I'm going to be on offense here. Whoever runs the defense, just you do whatever you need to do. And I think that would work really, really good in Houston. Matt Nagy or Doug Peterson, if both those guys get fired, and there's been talk about that, would both be really, really good candidates. The thing is with the Houston Texans, the only thing that stinks about the Houston Texans job is that you don't have any draft picks this year, but it's only this year. You have a ton of defensive talent. You have maybe the second best quarterback. Okay, let me put it this way. Going into 2021, he would be the second best quarterback because you would want Mahomes if you could choose anybody. And then Deshaun Watson would be number 2. Somebody might say Josh Allen, but I don't think so. You want to say Russell Wilson? Maybe. I'd take Watson over Wilson. And I love Russell Wilson. Rodgers, being that he'll be 37, he may be a free agent next year. That's another story completely. But yeah, Bieniemy I think would be great for Houston. Matter of fact, it would not surprise me if the Houston Texans are eyeballing Eric Bieniemy. It would not surprise me at all. It'll be interesting to see who they get in as GM. Falcons need defense. Too many years in the bottom 20. Same thing every year. Good offense, horrible defense. Matt Ryan's always had to play catch up. Yeah, dude. What stinks is that I could see whoever comes in as general manager and head coach of the Falcons telling Matt Ryan, hey, too bad, so sad. It's time to go. Personally, I would like to see the Falcons draft a quarterback and then have Matt Ryan come in and groom them for a year or two. But the problem is quarterbacks like Matt Ryan are nearly extinct. And out of all the quarterbacks in the draft, nobody's like Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is that classic pocket passer. So what I think will happen is I think whoever takes over, Matt Ryan will end up leaving. I could see him ending up next year on a team like Jacksonville and then having Jacksonville the second pick in the draft. They'll draft somebody and say, hey, look, just sit behind Matt Ryan for 1 year. And, kind of the same situation like Fitzpatrick. He'll probably start like midway through the season. But, yeah. Alex says a lot of guys call Watson a running quarterback. I would say the opposite. He's got great arm strength and get down the field fast. Just a bonus. I 100% agree with you, Alex. 100%. Matter of fact, people think Mahomes is a running quarterback. And I hate to I'm going to talk about just for like this fast and we'll get rid of it. One, if he was white, would you call him a running quarterback? That stigma, I think, still exists in the NFL that if a quarterback's anything except white, he's a running quarterback. And yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to touch too much on that. This is not the show for that. But yeah, I think Bieniemy would be better suited to manage a team that just needs tweaking. The Lions need a complete rebuild. I'm probably better off with a guy that's built a team from the ground. Well, that's okay. James, this is why I wanted him and Dorsey together, because if you remember, Bieniemy came over with Andy Reid and Dorsey in 2013 to a 2-14 Kansas City team that needed a complete rebuild. And Dorsey just came into the Chiefs roster with an atom bomb. And I could go into detail of how he rebuilt the Kansas City roster. But here's the deal. Go to Pro Football Reference. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs 2012 starting roster. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs 2013 starting roster. It's almost night and day. And he had more to do with that than Andy Reid. So John Dorsey brought in, just jettisoned in tons and tons of players. Andy Reid coached them up. Now that's something that I don't think Eric Bieniemy would do as good of a job of, but he would be able to come in with a system. He likes to run the ball a little more than Andy Reid, so you would be a little more run-oriented. Besides, he was also Adrian Peterson's running back coach for several years in Minnesota. They have a huge bond, and from what I've been told, Adrian Peterson's had a really good effect on the locker room. He will be there next year, so I'd really like to see that reunite. It would also solidify the fact that you got a really good head coach coming in here with Adrian Peterson giving you the thumbs up. But I get that. And also that's the reason why I don't like Saleh is because of Saleh, you got to nuke that defensive front seven completely. With Bieniemy, he's not married to that cover three. So you can keep the defense because he's been in he was in Kansas City where he ran a 3-4. He was in Kansas City when he ran a 4-3. He's going to bring in a guy who's like, you have the defense, I'm going to work with the offense. So, I mean, let me ask you this here. Take out the word Bieniemy and put Saleh in there, and that's kind of how I feel because that's what would happen. You'd have to atom bomb that defense. That's why I'm not a fan of Saleh. So, yeah, exactly. And this is something that Watson and Mahomes both excel at is passing, and then running's an afterthought. Too many quarterbacks come out of college, like Marcus Mariota. He uses feet so much that he didn't really learn to go through a progression because he didn't have a progression. The progression at Oregon was 1-2 run. And then he went to Tennessee and he was used to progression 1-2 run. He doesn't know how to go left to right, back to left because he was blessed with feet. And that's why running quarterbacks in the past weren't as effective because they would go 1-2 run. Teams figured that out pretty fast. Well, now quarterbacks can do 1, 2, 3, 4, or actually it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. They'd scan the whole field. Then they would go and run the football. That's why it's an asset. That's why when you can do the things that Watson can do in the pocket and that Mahomes can do in the pocket, and then you can run, it's like adding 1 + 1 = 3. It's dangerous. That's why I'm so high on Watson. He's not as good as Mahomes. And that's not an insult. That's not an insult, but Watson's really good. Really good. Besides a high risk injury, no thanks. It's a useful skill. Oh yeah, it can be, but I would rather have Matt Ryan than early Michael Vick. Let's just talk Falcons. Which Atlanta Falcons quarterback was better, Matt Ryan or the Atlanta Falcons version of Michael Vick? Michael Vick's going to make more highlight reels. He'll make the cover of Madden. Ryan will do better. I would say he'd win more games. Matt Ryan didn't have too many winning seasons in Atlanta, which is a shame because he's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Watson, the second best QB of the NFL at this time. Also, the Texans need to get rid of Edgerby. He is the biggest component to the Hopkins trade. He's hated in the organization. I didn't know that. I didn't. Rasputin. Now I remember Rick Smith got rid of Brad Osweiler, and then that's right. Okay. What happened is, this is funny. He traded or he signed Osweiler. Osweiler was going to re-sign with Denver, and Elway wanted to, Osweiler wanted to, and then Rick Smith offered him a 4-year, $72 million deal, which was crazy amount of money for Osweiler, who was vastly unproven and really just not a good quarterback. I can say that safely. But he had lots of upside. But Bill O'Brien didn't want him. Bill O'Brien, the media told him about it, not Rick Smith. There was such disconnect between the two, and they ended up saying, okay, well, we're going to go with the coach. Usually what happens is in a battle between general manager and head coach, you go with the general manager, but they really liked Bill O'Brien for some weird reason. I think me and Alex are on the same page here where they it was a mismanagement of the Houston Texans. They probably should let Bill O'Brien go, bring in a coach who can build up Osweiler. But then Osweiler never panned out. But what they ended up doing was paying Osweiler, and then they traded him to Cleveland. So they ended up paying the contract, and I think they got like a 6th-round pick for him, if I remember correctly. But oh God, that was such a Take that trade away. Rick Smith did a really good job as GM. Yeah. And this has happened throughout the course of NFL history. Somebody has a good game, flashes a little bit. Do you remember Matt Flynn? He played for the Green Bay Packers. He was Aaron Rodgers' backup, started week 16 against the Lions, had like a franchise record, 6 touchdowns, like 500 yards. And then next season, the Seattle Seahawks gave him a huge contract, but then they drafted the kid in the 3rd round named Russell Wilson, who beat him out. And Pete Carroll is probably the only NFL head coach who had enough guts to say, I'm going to start a rookie quarterback over a high-priced free agency. But it happens. Sometimes you have 1 or 2 good games. You go to another team, you get a lot of money, and you can't play. Osweiler was just not that good of a quarterback. So Esterby holds the ear of the emperor, even though he has 0 contentions. I remember that a little bit, and I actually didn't know that he was that high in organization. The name sounds familiar, but I didn't know all the details about him. But whoever gets hired in as GM, it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I think that not only do they need a GM, they also need like director of scouting. They need a lot of things. It'll be very interesting to see what they do. Also, I put something in here I thought you'd like. But just to break down the NFC East, here's your records. Washington 6-7, New York's 5-8, Philly's 4-8-1, and Dallas is 4-9. Let's see here. Taysom Hill or whatever people are saying, he's the guy after Breeze because 100%. If a team gives Taysom Hill like a a 3-year, $60 million deal, which is the same thing you got Teddy Bridgewater, that would be a massive mistake. Big time mistake. You're 100% right. All right. With my breakdown of the NFC East, you have Washington, which is 6-7. They've won 4 straight. Here's how it works. If the Washington Redskins win, they're in. Plain and simple, debate's over. But they got 3 games left. This is a tough one. All right. Seattle, you're at home. You're at home. They should win this one. They could play Philly for the division. In Philly. I mean, look, I'm pretty sure there's not a. Oh, did I say Redskins? Okay, the Washington team. I am sorry. The team in Washington to play the Eagles in Philly for the division. How much fun would that be? I know Jimmy's not here, but he probably ripped up his Eagles winning the East slip. It might have been too fast. I haven't seen Jimmy here yet. But bottom line, and I'd love to hear from you guys. I know Seattle going to the East Coast. That's a tough game. They should beat Carolina, but I mean, realistically, you're probably looking at 1-1 right here. William, what's up, brother? And Seattle's going to buckle. That's what I'm thinking too, man, because they're tied with the Rams for the division lead. So I think that you're looking at 1-1 going into this game. Here's why it's important. You got the Giants that are 5-8. They swept Washington. They hold the tiebreaker, but they did lose last week at home to Arizona. This is for you, Alex. I did this. I thought you would like that, man. By the way, it's weird, but the Cleveland Browns being 9-4 is not a misprint. All right, but this is the Giants' schedule. They have to play the Browns, who are 9-4, an 8-5 Baltimore team who's in the playoff hunt, and then they end the season at home playing Dallas. Here's the drill. Washington will need to lose either one game. They need to lose a minimum of 1, but they might have to lose 2. Alex jumps in. Esterby used to be the character development coach in New England. He has no right to be where he is, and no names. Will beat Seattle. Wow. The Giants have a chance to make the wild card. They don't. And here's the thing, because they lost to Arizona, Arizona holds the tiebreaker. So Arizona would have to lose 2 out of the last 3 games, and the Giants would have to go undefeated. I don't know if the Giants can win all 3 of these. They'll win this one. I thought of you when I read this. But yeah. Yeah, it's weird, man. I typed it in, Mike. By the way, welcome, man. And I'm like, man, really? 9-4? Weird. Yeah. The year, oh my God, the year the Browns don't hype up their. Yeah, exactly. Dallas does in fact suck. I thought of you when I put this in here, man. I thought of you. But here's what you got. This is going to be a tough game. Remember, Dallas here, the Giants here hold the tiebreaker over Washington. And because they lost at home to Arizona, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Yeah, they have some injuries. They do have injuries, but they also, I was very against Mike Nolan coming in. This makes, I did it as a joke. I'm glad you liked it. But here's where it gets really fun. The 4-8-1 Philadelphia Eagles are in fact still alive. They are 1-0 against Washington, and they are 1-1 against the Giants. So here's the drill. They're going to be playing at Arizona. Arizona's fighting for a playoff spot. At Dallas. And let's be clear, at this point, Dallas is probably just watching and waiting for the offseason. I'm going to touch base because Dallas can still win this division, believe it or not. But this is it. I want this so bad. I want week 17 to be Eagles, the team from Washington, for the East. I want this so bad. So here's the drill. In order for the Eagles to win the division, which is still very much alive, they need to win all 3 of these games and 1 Washington loss, which would be right here. All right. And they still need 1 Giants loss. And the reason why is, as you see here, Giants just have the better record. So if they finish 7-8-1, Giants finish 7-9, a little math. And then here's the deal. Let's say Washington wins these 2 games. They'll be 8-7. 7-8-1 is not good enough. Washington has to lose one of these games. All right. We're going to do Golden Rooster, man. We're going to talk a ton of draft stuff. We are going to do a ton of draft stuff. And that's another thing, is that who's going to be the quarterback. They didn't commit to Prescott. I don't think they have to either. And they have a high enough draft pick, they could just take somebody, or they could trade up. I'd be really shocked if the Jets or Jaguars traded out of those spots, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. The new Eagles QB was wearing an Astro hat after his first game. The Philly media freaked out and demanded they take it off. He responded by putting up horns. I didn't know that, man, but the Eagles are weird, man. But that's what you need. I really want Philly and Washington to play for the division. Now, the Cowboys can still win the East. Believe it or not, I'm going to show you how. They're still mathematically alive. They're 0-2 against Washington, 1-0 against the Giants, and 0-1 against Philly. The 49ers, with a loss, are now officially out of the playoff race. I don't care what mathematical formula it is. They're not going to the playoffs. I know it. You know it. They're not going. They're officially dead. The Eagles at 4-8-1. You know what? Did I get this right? All 3 of these games are not at home. I know. Okay, yeah, this Giants game is on the road. Okay, I'm sorry. This game's on the road. All right. Make it look pretty. So this is going to be a fun game, actually. They play the Eagles. Is there a chance? Is there a chance? And then they end the season in New York. Now, they would hold the tiebreaker over Washington if they sweep. So here's how this works. If they win all 3 games and Washington loses all 3 games, Dallas can still win the division. If Washington wins, then Dallas is officially eliminated. But yes, it's still alive. I want nothing more than this. I want to see this Week 17 game so bad. Isaac, man, I have not even had a chance to talk about it yet. I have a great pick, and I forgot to check before I went on the air. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to get jacked up. You know what? I purposely I deleted a window that I meant to leave saved. So, ooh. Oh man. And actually this is the only one I need. The quarterback is okay, he's from Houston. I didn't know he's from Houston. I didn't know that. This is some great stuff. I did not know that. Isaac, my pick is, and by the way, if you go to my bookie, you can make the same bet. And I meant to do this before I went on there, and I didn't have an opportunity. The game for Thursday night, in case you don't know, is the Las Vegas Raiders against the Los Angeles Chargers in Vegas. The line is 3. The over-under is 53.5. Now, I actually put action on this game, and I did it early because I thought the line was going to jump from 3 to 3.5. So I went ahead and I put action down early on the Raiders, and I didn't get a good number. I'm looking at it now because a better number is now available. But that's okay because I wanted to make sure I got 3 and I didn't get 3.5 because I really thought it would be jumped up. Also might put some action on Waller for receptions and yards on this game. But I really like the Raiders, and I'll tell you why. Mike Williams is questionable. Keenan Allen's questionable. Austin Eckler is questionable. Denzel Perryman, he's been out for a couple games actually. And then the rookie from Oklahoma, and I'm drawing a blank on his name. A guy I really liked. He's been playing some really good football. Nasir Adderley is doubtful. Brian Bulaga is out. But the main reason why I am picking the Raiders is because they fired their defensive coordinator. They promoted a former Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, Rod Marinelli, a guy I really like. But for you Lions fans here, I'm sorry. I know he was the head coach of your 0-16 season, but he's a good defensive coordinator. He's a lot like Romeo Crennel. You do not want this guy as your head coach. And I think that if he ever gets another chance, he won't in the NFL. If he ever gets another head coaching opportunity, he'll do a good job. He's a good coach. I think that firing the defensive coordinator at this point in the season is key for the Raiders, and it's a big key of why I think that they will beat the Chargers and cover 3 points. So, Isaac, man, I know you're a Chargers fan. You have a bright future, but you're missing your left tackle. You are missing a ton of players. Even if they do play, they're not going to be nearly 100%. Normally, when a team fires a head coach, as the Lions fans here well know, when you fired a head coach, the new head coach comes out. I think firing the defensive coordinator will really energize and juice up that defense. And Rod Marinelli's an excellent defensive mind. So I suggest if you can take 3, go ahead and get 3. But I do expect it to be a tough game. Don't take 3.5. I won't take 3.5 because I do think it'll be a close game, but I do expect the Raiders to win. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and take the Raiders in 3. I got a little bit on it, but I do have action on it. And if the Raiders didn't make the change in defensive coordinator, I probably would have left this game alone. But I do like the Raiders this week, and I apologize about that. Great win, though. Both you guys and the Falcons tried to give the game away. It was actually a pretty entertaining game, and the future is very, very bright for the Chargers, just not this year. But yeah, I do got the Raiders. That's my bet, and that's my action this week. And you can do the same thing on my bookie. The link's below. I don't work for my bookie. I actually don't even recommend my bookie. But if you're in a situation like myself where you put action on the game, you can try using Bitcoin. This isn't a Bitcoin channel, but trust me, you want to use cryptocurrency because you will get burned. It's 5% plus an additional charge and fee. So just be warned. All right. I went on too much of a rant. QB is from Houston. Oh, yeah, I got that one. All right, Dallas ain't going to win that division. This win they're going to win this weekend and lose Christmas weekend, officially killing them off from a playoff berth. A perfect Christmas present for Dallas fans. I love the hate, man. I love the hate. Do you think the Falcons will win one against the Bucs 2/3 of the game? I you know what? I should have looked. I haven't had a chance to take a look. There's a very good chance. I like the way the Falcons are playing. They should have beat the Chargers, or I could say the Chargers should beat them either way. But Falcons are playing better, and Tampa Bay, I think, with a win last week against Minnesota, pretty much ironed out that they're going to get into the playoffs. The thing is, with a team like Tampa Bay, it doesn't matter if they're the 5th, 6th, or 7th seed. So absolutely, you could, if they have the playoffs wrapped up. I think they play the week 17. Correct me if I'm wrong. There's a good chance Brady doesn't even play. So, yeah. Houston got nothing to play for, already eliminated for the playoffs. All we were going to do is make it worse for other teams, aka I would not be surprised if the Colts lose to Houston. It's going to be a good game. I'm actually pretty excited to watch it. I said earlier in the show that I said earlier in the show, I think the Colts are the only team that has a chance against Kansas City. The only it's going to sound cheesy, but the only team that can beat Kansas City in the playoffs is Kansas City. Kansas City comes out and plays a bad game or doesn't come out sharp or drops passes. But the only team that could come into Arrowhead and beat Kansas City, I think, is the Colts. That's just the way I feel. So I would love nothing more if Houston beat them, but that division is going to be very interesting. And I'm kind of like I think it'd almost be more fun for the Colts to win that division and then Tennessee go on the road, because you don't want to play Tennessee. Everybody's like, I do not want to tackle Derrick Henry. Raiders. Oh, Pete, what's up, brother, man? Raiders for sure winning. Raiders have contained mobile quarterbacks. Have contained mobile quarterbacks well this season. John Gruden will make that rookie work out. I think that him and then Rod Marinelli. Now, Rod Marinelli was the former defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys. When the Cowboys cleaned house, he went to the Raiders. I thought this was a great move for the Raiders. He's an A-plus defensive-minded coach. He likes to run that Tampa 2 defense. And so what the Tampa 2 defense is, it's a scheme-based defense. What he's going to do is he's going to dumb down the system a lot for the Raiders, and he's just going to say, look, we just need to play fast. Just get to where you're going, get there fast, get there aggressive. And I think you're going to see a very simplistic defense, but for rookie quarterbacks, it's going to be still complex. Herbert's done a great job so far, but I really like the move that the Raiders did, even though, and by the way, Paul Gunther and John Gruden are very close, so it was not an easy decision. So I really think that's going to generate, I think it's going to really help the Raiders. If they didn't make that move, I don't place this bet. But if you can get 3, I strongly think you should take the Raiders in 3. I do think they're going to win. It's going to be a close game. It's an AFC West game. It's going to be a close one. But yeah, that's a good point. I do agree with that. One thing about Tampa 2 defense is that you're not going to see a lot of blitzing. I don't think you'll see a lot of blitzing. But I think that the Raiders – now remember, Brian Balaga's out for the game. So I do think that the Raiders will get some pressure on the quarterback, which they haven't done at all this season. So, well, they've done it in bits and pieces. So, yeah, I was bummed they fired the defensive coordinator. I felt like we would have put up a lot of points. You honestly could still put up a lot of points, but I just think the Raiders will put up more. I'm probably going to put some action on Waller receptions and yards on this game. Also, I was looking at ESPN an article several days ago about all the free agents out of the Chargers. It's going to be I just look forward to 2021. You're getting hydrated. Here's the thing. You have some really good defensive players. Keenan Allen's as good of a wide receiver as you'll get. You have a quarterback, and you're definitely getting a top 10 pick, maybe even a top 5 pick. The future is very, very bright for 2021. Very bright. Thoughts on Jets firing the defensive coordinator? I actually didn't like the move, to tell you the truth. Why fire him for doing the same thing he's always done? Yeah, he made a bad call. He's always coached that way, though. And let's say he gets a sack instead of a touchdown, then it's a great move. But it just didn't make any sense. Why haven't you fired the head coach yet? The Jets don't make a lot of sense to me. I'm going to go on record. I think they win one of these games. I don't think they go on 16. I really don't. I think they win one of these games. I really do. I think that it'll just, some weird things are going to happen here in the next couple of weeks. You know what? I got it here. Let me see here. All right. Sorry, I hit the wrong button here. Let's just take a look here. All right. One of my rants here. Okay. Rams, Browns, Patriots. Oh God. Home against the Browns. Jets are going to win home against the Browns. Last home game, they're going to beat the Browns at home. Browns are going to be Browns. There's your win. They're not win, and unless they win in LA, which some weird stuff would have to happen. But yeah, they beat the Browns at home. There it is. They're going to win one. They're going 1-15, Alex. I think it was a weird ending. If you didn't see the ending, what happened is the Falcons got an interception. And then either the next play or 2 plays later, Matt Ryan throws an interception, and it was just comical. But yeah, You may say I'm very mean to Dallas fans. You know what? I bet you are. It's kind of fun though, just kind of give other fan bases crap. If Dallas fan ever comes into chat or a 49ers fan, I will give. And the reason why I say that is I got a lot of hate from the 49ers fans. I went to Vegas for the Super Bowl and I didn't gloat, but anyway, I'm probably going to go on a rant, but when I was a Chiefs, I say when I was a Chiefs fan, but when I went to Arrowhead as a Chiefs fan, I sat next to a Raiders fan or a Broncos fan or a Chargers fan, or I always talked to them. Most of them are really, really cool. Some really cool Broncos fans were there. They came from Denver. It was a bucket experience. They're like, hey man, we see Arrowhead. We wanted to come here. It's great. Everybody, they were really cool. Vikings fans came that were really cool. Some girls told them to shut the F up. I'm still bothered by it. They were super cool too. Green Bay fans are really cool. A lot of really great fan base. I'm always nice to other fan bases. I don't get it. Why be mean to another fan base? So what? Your team's different than my team. I don't care. Me and you get along. Remember first week of the season? We still get along. So. To not go very mean to. Oh yeah, I got you, man. No, they're going to beat the Browns. I'm going to call it here. I'm going to call it. There would be. You know what? I know lots of Dallas Cowboys fans. My last girlfriend was a Dallas Cowboys fan, but she didn't know that much about football, and I was not dating her for her brains. I'll just leave it at that. She's a very, very nice girl. Not the smartest ball in the bunch, but very nice. Stafford's questionable for the game against the Titans. X-ray on Stafford's ribs were negligible. Okay, that's negative. I'm sorry. Chase Daniel's taking most of the snaps in practice. I've always liked Chase Daniel. Always liked Chase Daniel. He was here for several years in Kansas City. Great backup quarterback. Chase Daniel was in Detroit last year. You guys probably finished 6-10, 7-9. Matter of fact, this is a true story, James. Last year, I actually got a phone call from Matt Patricia to play quarterback. True story. I'm lying, of course, but yeah. This is awesome. Music City guy. Jets need to lose out. Don't want Trevor Lawrence in that trailer park called Jacksonville. That is awesome. I think the Jets will lose on purpose. Okay. Golden Rooster, me and you have been together. I know you've been following my show for maybe 2 years. NFL teams don't tank. NFL teams don't tank. I 100% believe that they're going to do everything possible to win one of these 3 games. It would not surprise me if they beat the Browns. Could they go to New England and beat New England? I've seen weirder things. I'll be honest though, I thought that they would win. I really think that they're going to win a game. I really do. I don't think the Jets are going to tank because here's why you're not going to tank. Number one, there's no guarantee that Trevor Lawrence is going to be good. No guarantee. I remember Jamarcus Russell coming out of LSU. I was like, oh God, this guy's going to be great. Terrible. You could get injured. Kajana Carter, Steve Ettman, trying to think of other number 1 players. People are really high on Tim Couch. People thought he was going to be a franchise caliber quarterback. Turned out to be that he wasn't nearly as good as Donovan McNabb. My buddy thought Akili Smith was going to be better than both of them. I'm like, I have no idea what you see. I wasn't that high on Akili Smith. But bottom line, NFL teams aren't going to tank. And there's another thing. There's no guarantee. I think Lawrence is going to, but there's no guarantee. Kyle Wilson out BYU is looking great. Both Fields and Lance are going to be really, really good. Really, really good. Both those guys' stocks just going to skyrocket. But I don't think so. I think they have the tiebreaker against the Jags. I'll be honest, I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when it comes, but I'm still going to hold out hope that the Jets don't go winless. But Unless Alex has action on. Also, Frank Ragnow, doubtful for Sunday due to a throat injury suffered against the Packers. Lions signed QB Jordan Tamu and running back Jordan Scarlett. Jordan Tamu spent some time in Kansas City. It's kind of an interesting pickup. Nothing long term, but he actually played, if I remember right, he played at Texas A&M. I watched him play. Guy can run. Not bad to back up Chase Daniel, but that's something I'm going to look at. I'm still probably going to put action on Hawkinson for receptions. I put more on yards. Why did I do that? Yeah, that was awesome, man. That was like my favorite, man. Cobb will be out for the rest of the season, but Cooks will be back playing. Greenyard will be back as well as being out of sick. All these things are good. I would not be surprised they beat Colts. Would not be. Both the Colts and Titans are making playoffs. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I need Titans to pound Chase Daniel so the Lions have a better shot. I'm still not ruling out. Stafford staying in Detroit. But we're gonna do a lot of draft stuff, James. Ryan Leaf was you know what? I like Leaf more than Manning. I admit that. And by the way, side note, if Ryan Leaf on Twitter is awesome. He is awesome. It's an awesome Twitter handle. He does like Pac-12 stuff. I like redemption stories. He had some problems with painkillers and alcohol. Completely sober, doing like Pac-12 stuff. Really entertaining on Twitter. I really enjoy following him. His story is great. Does a lot of charity work. Great, awesome story. I was convinced he was going to be better than Manning. I'll admit it. Yeah. Ryan Leaf, Trent Dilfer, Achilles Smith, Tim Couch, Marcus Mariota. My buddy was like, Marcus Mariota is going to be next Aaron Rodgers. I'm like, I think he runs too much. I don't think I wasn't high on him. My buddy also thought Winston was going to be a star. I think Winston will get another chance sooner or later and could be really good. Oh yeah, about that Florida State game against LSU. I think you mean, and you know what? I haven't seen Denver Gator here. I gave him some shit about that. The shoe throw was awesome. Yeah, I'm going to put money on Hawkinson. I doubled. Okay, I put 25 on receptions, 50 on yards, and he went over on receptions, under on yards. So I ended up losing, but I'm going to double dip on. I'm definitely doing that again. Hawkinson's been playing some really good show. Can't wait for my dude James. Here's the drill. Once the combine's over, I'm going to do an individual video for all 32 draft picks. I'm going to do a video for draft pick number 1 to draft pick number 32, and I'm going to go in order. Then after those 32 videos, every team that doesn't have a first round pick, I'm going to do an individual video for each one of those teams, like the Houston Texans, for example, or any other team. Then when free agent comes in, as those, for example, if a team I have drafting a wide receiver and then they pick up a big name wide receiver in free agency, I will do a retraction video on that pick and then redo it. I'm going to do between the combine and the draft about 40 videos, maybe even more. I'm going to be very, very busy. I think I'm going to do live streams just on Wednesday, and we'll do a lot of draft talk. I'll recap the draft videos. And then Wednesday show before the draft, I'm going to do a mock draft. And I'll try to get it done as fast as possible, but it may be a few hours because I love the draft, and I'm glad you guys do too. And I'm going to do a ton of videos on the draft. So I want to say Jake Plummer did have a respectable career. Remember, he beat Dallas in the playoffs. I think it was 90. Was it 98? Jake Plummer did. He had you know what he does now? He lives like in a weird commune, and he's a professional handball player, like racquetball, but handball. He's like trying to build that up, and he grew his hair out. He he looks like a guy like ask you for change or something, but does some good stuff here. Denver Gator, man, what's up, brother? We did not talk about the shoe throw, so just. You know what? Hey, just for you, I was just listening to the Round Six podcast. Kyle Trask is going to the Senior Bowl. Very excited about that. You should be too. It's going to be a good move for him. Both his receivers are also going there too, so it's going to be a lot of fun. The Senior Bowl is going to be big this year. This year more than most years. We're going to pay a lot of attention to it. We're going to do a lot of draft talk, and good luck in the SEC title game against Alabama. I'm not going to lie. I don't expect you to win, but definitely a pizza night, and I'll cast you for myself. Oh, dude, sweet. Yeah, I'm going to do a lot of draft stuff here. I'm going to have a lot of videos, a lot of mock drafts. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm going to do my picks 1 through 32. So when I say mock drafts, you'll see my drafts as they go on, but as I'll also make retractions. So you'll see who I've already picked 1 through 32. I'll break down each team and what they're going to do. I'll break down, for example, Cincinnati, let's say they have the third pick in the draft. I will probably advise for them to trade down, but I'll do the pick as they are picking at 3. Then I'll do a mock trade. And then also if you guys have another suggestion, but I'll put a lot of information in. Each video I'm going to do will more than likely, I'll try to keep it under 10, but believe it or not, I have a problem with ranting, so I may go on and extend that out. But I'll do a minimum of 32 videos, and then for every team that doesn't have one. And then Wednesday before the draft. Also, I'll bring this up again. I'm not going to have a Christmas show. I can't believe that Christmas is next week. So next Friday, I will not be on the air. I'm not going to do a Christmas show, but I am going to have a Black Monday special live stream. So, yeah, see what, Alex, here's a good point here. Texans have 1 third-rounder. So what I'm going to do with the Houston Texans is after I do picks 1 through 32, I'll do a video on the Houston Texans, and I'll give you who I think they're going to take with their top draft pick. So I will use their third-round pick, and I'm going to say, hey, this is who I think the Houston Texans will take. And I'll throw out a couple names, and then I'll narrow it down. I'll actually call my shot. And so when they do draft, you can say, hey, Dan picked somebody completely wrong. More than likely, I'm not going to get that draft pick correct, but I will go ahead and make that selection. And then I'll break down what I like and what I don't like about the Houston Texans. So I hope the GM, 2022 is going to be a good year for the Houston Texans. Here, Lions, yes, they did. Chris Spielman, one of my favorite players, even though didn't play for Kansas City. I think it's special advisor, or is it special advisor or something to do with special teams, but really smart what the Lions are doing. They've been bringing in I just found out from James that they brought in Rick Smith, and they're bringing in I knew they were bringing in Louis Riddick as GM candidates. Really smart what the Detroit Lions are doing these last couple of weeks. Forget about the wins and losses. Just really what they're doing from this point going forward. It's really, really smart. It'll be very interesting to see what they're doing. The Black Monday show will probably just focus on the head coaching firings, but there's a good chance that we'll talk about teams already have head coaches that are already gone, and maybe who's a good candidate. But I keep hearing Saleh to Detroit, and I'm going to go on record. I don't like it. Lions definitely need a quarterback, a lot of D-line help, edge. Yeah, I like Stafford, so I'll kind of disagree with you there. But if you bring in Saleh, you need to Adam bomb that whole front seven. You have nobody who can play Saleh's defense except for Okawar, and he's just a guy. You need studs on that defensive line. I mean, you need studs, big-time players. And you don't have a draft with a Bosa brother or Chase Young either. That's a big loss, because if you were to run that wide 9 defense with Chase Young, then, hey, you're in good shape. But or either Bosa brother, you don't have that in this year's draft. So I I'm the anti-Salah going to Detroit. I'm not anti-Salah in a few other places. I wouldn't like him in Houston. I wouldn't like him in Detroit. But I think a team that wants to play a 4-3 defense, I'm trying to think here, maybe a team like Jacksonville. I think he'd be actually a great fit in Jacksonville because what they'll do is they'll draft a quarterback, an offensive-minded guy, probably a former head coach who's going to be there as offensive coordinator. But Jacksonville, I think, out of all the choices. No, you know what? Isaac brought it up. He would be a great fit for the Chargers. Great fit for the Chargers. Yeah, they are. They are 100%. Salah, dude, exactly, Alex. Exactly. He's not a rebuild coach. He needs a team that already has a decent offense built. Falcon. Ooh, I think Isaac said Chargers because you have your quarterback. You have a stud wide receiver. You have some pieces on the offensive line. You still need a left tackle, in my opinion. But I think the Chargers would be good. Falcons would also be good. The Falcons would also be good, but only if you keep Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. If you get rid of Julio Jones and you get rid of Matt Ryan, you bring in a young quarterback, and you bring Salah to Atlanta, that's a train wreck. That's a train wreck. Phillips to replace Salah. Or do you think Phillips goes Raiders? Maybe questions back with Shanny. All right, I'm drawing. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here. Phillips to replace Salah. I'm drawing a blank on Phillips. I'm sorry, Denver Gator. We're really close. I'm just drawing a blank on Phillips for some weird reason. Mike back. I'm really drawing a blank on who you're talking about with Phillips. Wade Phil. Oh shit! Shouldn't have said that, but Wade Phillips. From what I understand, and by the way, I love Wade Phillips. I actually said I thought the Rams made a mistake when they got rid of Wade Phillips, but they didn't. They actually did a good move. The way I understand it is that he's happy. Just he's done. I think he's 72. I was kind of surprised that when he left Buffalo, he never got another head coaching job. So, excuse me. I'm sorry about that. I'll tell you what, Wade Phillips, I think, would be an excellent choice. But he runs a different style of defense. But he can get very creative because they ran a 3-4 before Shanahan and Salah arrived there. They ran a 3-4. So that's actually not a bad choice. I actually think that what's going to happen is, unless the Raiders look really, really, really bad, I think Marinelli is going to stay as defensive coordinator, and I think that they're going to run that Tampa 2 defense. I think they're built perfect to run the Tampa 2 defense. The role that John Lynch played as a strong safety, that's a perfect fit for 24 out of Mississippi State. I'm drawing a blank on his name. I love the guy. He's actually not even going to play. You guys know who I'm talking about. And actually, as a Chiefs fan, I'd love for him to be a Chief. I gotta quit forgetting names. Oh God, I'm looking it up. I'm not gonna lie, Jonathan Abram, and I love that guy, and he's going to occupy the same spot that Jonathan John Lynch did in Tampa Bay, because I think they're going to start running that Tampa 2 defense in Vegas. But Wade Phillips to replace Salah, that would be great, man. I would love it. I didn't even think about it. So that would be great. And it took me, I'm like sitting here like, Phillips, I know we're on the same page. I had no idea who you're talking about. So thanks for cleaning that up. Chargers would be the best team for Salah to land. That O-line needs improvement. The defense would do incredibly under Salah. We just need to exactly. Alex, man, I swear, Alex, me and you just saying, except for me calling you a Cowboys fan, I'm glad I'm forgiven. But no, I 100% agree with this. Salah's not a guy for a rebuild job, but the Chargers would be perfect. I hate to tell you this, but Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa, their games are pretty damn similar. Another thing about Salah is I think that he would make that Chargers job really attractive. I think players would want to go there. I think Richard Sherman would love to go because Richard Sherman was public. He says, I don't think I'm going to re-sign with the Niners this year. He also was public in praise for Salah. So I think wherever Salah goes, I think he's going to bring Richard Sherman with him. So I think that if he went to LA, he would bring Richard Sherman. I think him and Richard Sherman would be able to recruit other players. And I think a lot of those free agents, that there's a lot of free agents. I think a lot of them might be persuaded to take a pay cut to stay with Salah. I think that would be a great move. So, I mean, yeah, again, boom. Kind of hoping the Lions will at least reach out to Tony. Oh, you know what? I think they should. I 100% agree. And I don't think Dungy's interested, but yeah. Hey, yo, sorry I'm late. Jimmy, hey, listen, I did a breakdown of the NFC East. I won't go over the whole thing, but basically what's going to happen is Washington and Philly play the last game of the year, and it's a very, very, very good chance that they're going to play for the division. I know you got action on Philly. It's not over yet. Actually, all 4 teams are in play to win the NFC East. I did an NFC East breakdown, but if everything works out right, we are going to see a Philly-Washington battle week 17 for the NFC East, which would be awesome. It's in Philly, too. Autocorrect Quinn back with Shanny. Quinn? Now I'm drawing a blank. I thought, because, okay, yeah, Wade Phillips and Shanahan were together in Denver, but it wasn't Kyle Shanahan, it was Mike Shanahan. Correct, Quinn back with Shanny. Now I'm drawing a blank. I think I'll get caught up here. Actually, I'm drawing a blank, man. I'm drawing a blank, Denver Gator, man. I would still want June Jones to be the Texans head coach. I would love to see his type of offense use of Watson. Though it's a very, very, very long shot because he hasn't been involved in the NFL. I would love it. The only thing that would make this better is if he brought in Jerry Glanville to coach the defense. If he brought that would never happen. No, I would love to see that. And it would work. It would work. I really do. I would love that. Back when they hired Quinn, they only viewed 3 candidates and they didn't rely on a search Quinn. I'm drawing a blank on who you're talking about with Quinn. And in all fairness, though, I'm gonna wrap this up soon. So I'm drawing a blank on who you're talking about with Quinn. And I'm just drawing a blank here, so I apologize. Who would fit best in Detroit? Now, if you're talking GM, I've been saying Dorsey, and I think do what I did and delete Quinn from the list. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Let me back up here. You're talking about Dan Quinn. I'm sorry, and I don't know why I was thinking. Okay, that would be great. Dan. Okay, let me rephrase this. Dan Quinn with Shanny, because they run the same defense, is perfect. When they hired Quinn, they only they I don't want to run. I don't want to. I feel like I'd get on too much of a rant here, but no, the Atlanta Falcons had a system in play. They had a great offense. They wanted a defensive-minded coach. The Seattle Seahawks, keep in mind, for 4 straight years led the NFL in scoring defense. So it really they already had a fit. So. Which one would fit best in Detroit? Now, if you're talking GM, it's 100% John Dorsey. I will stand on the hill, say that there's not 15 general managers in the NFL better than Dorsey. As far as head coaches are concerned, I really like Bieniemy because he spent a lot of time in the NFC North. If Matt Nagy or Doug Peterson become available, which I don't think – I think Peterson will end up keeping his job in Philly, but there was some talk about him leaving. Either one of those guys would be great fits. Um, I don't think a college coach would be a really good fit. I don't like Saleh at all. Patrick Graham, the coach, defensive coordinator for the Giants, is interesting. But if you go that route, you're going to have to bring in a really, really good mind on offense, and you also have to bring in a good GM. I'm not sure if you're talking about GM or coach. Coach and GM, I'm going to give you the same ones I've been giving you for a long time, and I'm going to stand on it with Eric Bieniemy and John Dorsey. I think it would work good, but you got to have the intersection. You got to have cohesion. You have to have a good pair. You have to have a good pair. Fuller and oh yeah, dude, Alex. The more you talk about it, the more it makes sense. And here's the deal: he would come in. Even if you just brought him in to be offensive coordinator, it would be so much fun because that's kind of what they're doing anyway. Fuller, Watson, Cooks. Cooks is a perfect receiver for that June Jones offense. Cooks is exactly what June Jones wants out of a wide receiver. I'm seriously like I'm loving that. I'm loving it. And then when the over-unders for the year come out, I'm probably putting money on Houston again because that's a playoff team. I'm loving that, man. I listen, if you get a petition, I will sign it. I would love to see June Jones back in the NFL. I love June Jones. I was pleasantly surprised Philly beat the Saints at Washington defense. Yeah, they are. And I talked about this earlier. I broke down all four of the NFC East teams. Washington has to play at home, but they play Seattle. And then they play Carolina. I think that they go 1-1. Where Philly has a very good chance to go. They have to beat Arizona, of course, but if Philly wins against Arizona, they beat Dallas, they'll have a 6-8-1 record going against what looks like it's going to be a 7-9 Washington team, and that means that Philly wins are in. So there's a very good chance that Week 17 we could get a win and in game in the NFC East. So don't give up yet, man. I was pleasantly surprised. I got the Saints over 10.5 wins, so I wanted it locked down last week because I don't think they're beating Kansas City this week. Reminder, next week, every game's going to be broken down. Dungy as a GM is incredible. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I just don't think he wants to do it anymore. Dan Quinn, yeah, it took me a minute, man. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not on the ball. Damn, I think Sherman would stay. There's a ton of potential with the Niners, offensive mastermind, a good deep. He went public and said that he doesn't. His contract's up, and he went public and said that he doesn't think he's going to re-sign with the 49ers. Now, keep in mind, Brandon Graham with the Eagles said the same thing, and they end up re-signing with the Eagles. So it does happen. More than likely, I think wherever Saleh goes, I think Sherman wants to play for Saleh. I think Sherman likes him, and he's to a point where he can pretty much determine if he wants to stay in the NFL. If he wants, I think he'd be great on TV. If he chooses, he wants to do that. But I think wherever Saleh goes is where Sherman's going to go. But he said publicly that he didn't think he'd be back with 49ers. Who'd you start, the backup QB or the starting QB? No, I'm not talking about Bob Quinn. No, not Nagy. Nagy's. There's been talk about Nagy being fired and Ryan Pace. It'll be very interesting. That when I do the Black Monday show, we'll talk about that. But the Bears' job, he could be gone. That's up in the air. That's really up in the air still. Jimmy, I always thought that he was great, just average. Could be a better QB. I'd take the backup. And oh, you're talking about the Philly quarterbacks. Man, it could go into a long rant. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to wrap the show up. So I'm not going to go into that. But it was a good win and an interesting game against the Arizona Cardinals next week. Well, the problem isn't the Lions have said they wanted to hire a head coach first, but they may have changed their mind. If they do, here's the thing. If you want to hire a head coach, I think hiring a first-time head coach would be a big mistake if you're going to go that route. You really shouldn't have that. You really shouldn't do that anyway. The Kansas City Chiefs did it, and it worked. And some teams have done it. I kind of agree with Jimmy here. I think that what you're going to do is that if you hire Eric Bieniemy, then that would work. If you target somebody, if you want to target Salah and then hire a general manager, I don't think that works at all. But it'll be interesting to see what happens in actually after the playoffs are over with. It'll be interesting to see which coaches go to which positions. Alex, man, you have a great night. I hope to see you Friday. I think Bieniemy would be great in Detroit. Yeah, I just don't think Detroit is most. If I'm Bieniemy, I want the Houston job. If I'm Bieniemy, I want the Houston job. To me, that would be the most appealing because you have a team that's ready to go to the playoffs. You have a superstar quarterback, a really good defense. You have some playmakers. You just don't have draft picks. And it's only draft picks for this year. 2021, you have draft picks. And if you have a really creative GM, you could trade a 2021 draft pick for a 2020 draft pick, maybe get some good value. And that's something you may see Houston do. It'll be very interesting to see what they do, but I 100% believe that as of right now, of all the positions that are available, I think Houston Texans has to be the most appealing. And I think if I'm Eric Bieniemy, I could see Eric Bieniemy going into Houston and saying, okay, I'm going to hire a good defensive mind. We'll work on the defense. I'm going to work with Deshaun Watson, and they'll build an offense very similar to Kansas City, and they'll be dangerous. They'll be a very dangerous team. Let me rephrase. When the Lions hired Quinn, they only – oh, really? Okay, now that I didn't know. I thought you were talking about Atlanta when they hired Bob Quinn, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. It was recommended by a Corsi. Wow. I didn't know that at all. I didn't know that at all. But let me just say this one, Pride 40. I think what they're doing now and all the due diligence that they're doing with the GM positions really smart. I like what they're doing, and it'll be very interesting to see what they do this offseason. So, yeah. All right. When you get off, I'm going to – dude, it was entertaining. I wanted to see overtime, man. I'm sorry. And you should look due diligence. Okay, listen, guys. Hey, listen. By the way, I have no idea what it's like on YouTube. So first thing I'm going to do is look over. Hopefully I have a thumbs up. So if you're here and you're still here, please give me a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm. Don't forget, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think. Friday, I'm going to break down every single game. I hope to see all of you then. So, hey, have a great night. Let's look forward to a really good Thursday night football game, and I will see everybody back on Friday.